Hi. So I'm actually turning 30 in 2 months, and it's a big milestone. It's a big um I guess it also feels like a crossroads of sorts that is self-imposed. When I was 20, I started playing and pursuing music, and I talk about like how all that started and whatnot in a different video. Um, but something I don't think I mentioned is that when I started that path at 20, I told myself that um, if I don't succeed, I would quit when I'm 30. And now I'm at that point. It's kind of come really fast, um, faster than I expected. And I think I want to reflect on that. I want to talk a bit also about the reason why I gave myself this false deadline. I think um, I knew I was taking a risk, and I just told myself that because I was like, well, if I don't make it, I can still go back to school and get my life together and pursue a different career. Um, I think that was sort of my thinking. It wasn't really like, oh, like just because I reached this arbitrary age, I have to abandon all my dreams. Um, I think I was coming from that point of like I kind of wanted to put pressure on myself and like give myself permission to like go as hard as possible. And so I gave myself this arbitrary like deadline. And I was like, well, if I don't make it, at least I can feel like I've given it my all. And I do feel like I've put so much of myself in the pursuit of my artistic dreams, and I'm really glad I did that. I think I would have regretted it so much more if I hadn't gone after this dream. I just don't like feeling like I'm letting myself down or like I failed because I'm in a place right now where it can't be my number one priority anymore. And I think I was so dead set and fixated on like, if this isn't my number one priority, if this isn't what I'm doing at all times, like there's no point in pursuing it anymore. Like I was very like all or nothing. And so I prioritized it so heavily to the point where everything else kind of fell away. Like I dropped out of college, and then I kind of isolated myself a lot to pursue it, and I didn't really like put myself out there socially because I wanted to have time for this pursuit. Um, and now I'm coming up for air and I'm trying to find the balance in my life, and it feels like now it's in the back burner, and more days than not I find myself like not doing anything related to art or music, and it's really scary because I don't want to be the type of person that works and comes home and doesn't do anything related to an artistic pursuit. Like, I just don't want to live like that, but I feel really worn down at the moment. And like, I think a lot of it has to do with the specific situation I'm in. I don't want to just work and die. So I feel caught between two worlds because I don't want to walk away from my dreams fully, but I'm also understanding that the place I'm in currently is probably not sustainable unless I find either a day job or a career that can sustain me better without draining me as much as working in the service industry does. I'm just kind of seeing how like it's maybe likely that I physically won't be able to like work in this way forever. And it's really getting to me like emotionally and mentally too. I think I just throw myself into things. So now instead of being isolated because I'm so fixated on music, I feel isolated because I put so much of myself into my job like socially that I don't have a social battery outside of it. And then I don't have weekends free or whatever. So I feel like I'm in this weird limbo where I'm just thinking about what I want to do next. And I do want music and art to be a part of my life. I'm seeing that like it can't be everything for me anymore. And even saying that feels really painful because there was a while in my early to mid 20s that it was everything for me. And it just became so unsustainable. So I don't know. I don't know if I can reach a balance. Like I've never been good at that. I think I have to be all or nothing. I have to be consumed by something in order for it to feel worthwhile. And yeah, I don't want to think of how much I've put of myself into this pursuit as like a waste. It is tough thinking about like how I don't have a degree at this point and I don't have a lot of like real job experience. Like I'm like, am I cooked? You know? But right now I'm okay. And I think I will be okay. I just, as I reach this new decade, I think inevitably this next decade of my life will look very different from the decade before that. I think part of that is maybe figuring out a career that can sustain my dreams and not abandon my dreams. I think in the past I just thought if I pursue a different career that means I'm abandoning my dreams because I have to be all or nothing. And I think thinking of pursuing your dream is different from actually pursuing your dream, because once you start pursuing your dream, it's no longer like the dream, right? It's the reality, the grind, and then you see like how it really is. And I very quickly saw that like all my favorite bands had jobs and people that I thought like had made it still had to work. Yeah, this idea like, oh, you can just go on tour and play a bunch of shows was like, these are people that are doing so much to sustain themselves and their dreams. And it's amazing. And then I was like, well, I don't know if I'm strong enough to like balance all of this. And I don't know, I think you just have to find a way. But yeah, I think it's not healthy to romanticize your dreams to the point where it becomes the impossible dream. Because I don't want my dream to be the impossible dream. It's just that when you truly pursue it, it's not glamorous and you see how fragile it all is. Yeah, it's not glamorous. I think it's easier in a way to be like, God, like when I get to this point, like thinking ahead in that way, like putting your joy in the realm of possibility. Like, if I get to this point, then I can do this. And I think I'm guilty of that a lot. Like, I think I have this mentality of like, once I have this and this in order, like, then I can relax. But I've existed for long enough that I'm seeing like, I think I need to learn how to relax right now in this moment and be okay with what is. And forgive myself for what I haven't accomplished yet. I think that's a big part of it too, is like when you feel beholden to your younger self. Like your younger self hasn't lived through the shit you've seen, you know? So it's easy to feel like, wow, I've really like let my younger self down. I haven't accomplished everything I set out to do yet. And yeah, your younger self has their head in the clouds, you know? Your younger self hasn't really put in the work yet. So it was easy for my younger self to be like, I'm going to make it, and I'm going to go on tour, and I'm going to tour abroad, and like, it's just so much easier when it's just an idea. And then when you enter into the space of actually doing it, you see how difficult it is, and not difficult enough where you walk away from it fully, but difficult enough where you're like, hey, maybe I need to slow down and figure out how to make this sustainable for myself. And that's kind of where I'm at now. And I don't want to think of that as a failure. It's just, I'm just recalibrating, I'm just readjusting to what's in front of me and seeing what I can do in my current reality. And yeah, I'm still casting dreams into the future. There's still so much I want to do. But I'm not thinking so far ahead into the future anymore. Like, I feel kind of mentally incapable of doing that now. And I'm just trying to plan things very realistically, like very much like in my immediate future, and just be like, what can I do now with the resources and the tools I have now? And it's still a lot. I still don't know if I'll be able to do everything that I'm dreaming of for my album release, because I'm doing it all by myself. But I'm focusing on goals that feel sustainable for me. And it's still a lot. But I'm not thinking about 10 years from now anymore. I'm just thinking about the next 2 months, the next few weeks. And then after that, I don't know. Maybe I'll have a break. Maybe I'll find more momentum and I'll just keep going. Yeah, I think it's actually not very nice to yourself to feel like if you're not doing the most, you're not doing anything, because what I feel like what I want to let go of is like I'm doing what I can, and that's enough. Like, that's okay. And I still like cringe internally, because I'm like, but you're not doing the most. You're not like practicing for 5 hours a day like you used to. You're not like, yeah, it's just, I'm just trying to sustain my dreams. I'm trying not to burn myself alive so that I can continue, so I can carry on, so I don't die, Okay, that's dramatic, but, you know what I'm saying. It's just like, that voice inside my head is very demanding. When I was 20, I was deeply unbalanced. I felt everything so extremely. I did everything so intensely, including art. And I was probably flying too close to the sun, Like, I did crash, and I can talk a bit about that, like my dark night of the soul that came after, I guess, burning too brightly. And I don't regret any of that, It's just, I don't want to recreate that process. I can't. I physically can't anymore. Now that I'm 29, going on 30, my emotions aren't extreme anymore. I don't go after things and people so intensely anymore. I feel something, and then I sit with it for a while, like before I act on it. I notice patterns. I sit with them. I sit with things for a while, and sometimes I miss like burning for everything so intensely. like I did. And that's still in me, like that fire is still in me, but it wasn't sustainable. I've grown, like I've evolved and I've changed, and that's good. I don't lose myself as easily as I used to when I was younger. Um, and sometimes I miss that. I miss the passion, you know? I think I think it's just different now. I carry myself differently and I move through the world differently, and it's more balanced. I'm getting closer to who I am as a person, but I still identify with being an artist and a musician. Um, like I think walking away from that fully would be like cutting a part out of myself that feels like integral to my being. And I think it would just be too much grief, and it would leave me stranded and purposeless. I think in a way it keeps me going even when I'm not going after it like I used to. Like even the idea of it, I think is in my heart, and it feels like a reason to stay alive. I think I'll leave it there. But yeah, I think I would like to hear from, I know some of you are like older or like ahead of this journey or whatever, so yeah, like tell me about pursuing your dreams as you get older. Tell me about like how you balance all of it. Tell me, I mean, if you feel comfortable, like how do you support that? Because I really want to know. Like I know I was mostly very positive during this video, but I am really scared of the future in a way. I just don't, I also don't want to like create a fear-based reality or like only talk about the downsides, because I think things are really difficult for anyone regardless of like, even like the people that did everything right are like struggling right now. So I'm like, maybe just like fuck it, go for it. But yeah, tell me about that, like how you balance it. But yeah, I think I'll get going. Bye.